splashing, and costumes. No, we're not talking about Mardi Gras. We're talking about the San Diego shenanigans of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Join me and my friend Maggie as we recap season 3 and dish on Jen's crimes, Whitney's healing journey, Heather's black eye, and more. Welcome to Reality
Oh my
Redux with Angie and friends. Maggie, it's been a hot minute since I've seen you, girl. What you been
Hello.
up to?
Nice to see you again. Well,
Good
it
to see
has
you.
been, it's Ash Wednesday finally. We are tired. We're New Orleans and we are tired.
We are New Orleans and we are tired. Yeah, for
Yes.
listeners who are just tuning in, Maggie lives in the New Orleans area, and I live in the city of St. Louis, which, by the way, hosts the second largest Mardi Gras parade, which I didn't realize. And I went for the very first time last weekend. So before we launch into the crazy escapades of our Real Housewives, I thought we might talk a little bit about our shenanigans over Mardi
Oh,
Gras.
yes.
So tell me a little bit about your highlights. What did you just remember the most about the last few days? If you can remember anything, because maybe you did it so well you don't remember.
Yeah, it's been a wild one. So they put up these new barriers on St. Charles Avenue so that people have like they can't drive through because of what happened in New Year's. Um, so that's been a whole extra obstacle, little literal obstacle that's going on with New Orleans. We let's see, we did muses. I met up with my friend Stephanie, who was on the first season of The Floor. She was
Hey,
out here with her
Stephanie.
husband for 2 weeks. So they were out here for a while, and we met up a couple times. We went to some like different balls, and then just all the parades, all of the stuff. This is the smallest portion of things. I have an entire bag stuffed with plastic.
That's I know.
And
It's an environmental hazard, and yet it is such a community building enterprise that I feel there's times where they just cancel each other out. You just until they come
yeah,
up
it
with
is.
biodegradable beads. It is
They
unfortunately.
actually have been working on them in Baton Rouge in LSU. They've been working on them. They're 3D printed with like corn stalks,
Yes,
like
cornstarch.
material, plant based
Yeah.
material, and they have they'll have seeds inside of them, so you can put them in the ground and it'll grow like seeds
Okay.
or like they'll grow different plants and stuff. So that's what they're working on and trying to get more environmentally friendly throws and stuff because it is
That's
a lot.
amazing. I just threw
We
that out
have
there, and they're
yeah
already working on it. That's so cool. That's
yeah.
really, really cool. Yeah,
Chance, you're
so
here for it too.
Pepper, I did
Chance
I did
money.
our Mardi Gras. I was there from 10:30 to 3:30. I was very proud of myself because
Mm,
it was a test of all of my anxiety triggers, and I came out of it waiting to go next year. I'm pretty excited. It
nice.
was really something to behold, and there was so much solidarity and so much like it's what I imagine Woodstock might have been to our parents'
Hmm.
generation, right? Just being around people who
Yeah.
are all about loving on other people and just celebrating being alive and being in community. And I think, some of us need that more than others, and especially at this time in our country. So I think it was just a big celebration of what's good in the world. So I say
Yeah.
amen to that. It was a lot of fun.
It's so great. Every year, this whole city just comes together. Thousands of people come into the city to visit for it. It's a blast, and it's just a really great, fun thing to do.
So is today a
We
recovery
just
day for you? What does Ash Wednesday mean for you
kind of.
guys down there?
So for us, I did get into work for a bit today, and then speaking of Ash Wednesday, there's a handful of to go ashes. There are priests that are just like standing at different parks and right outside
Hmm.
their churches and stuff, and you can just go up real quick and get your ashes if that's something you do.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, people are excited for fish fry season because Fridays is
Yeah.
when everybody has fish. So yeah, there's now since we're done with king cakes, now everybody's going to get some fish.
Well, we have more in common every time we talk because, St. Louis has a huge Catholic population. I think one of the largest
Hmm.
outside of Boston. And yes, everything's about the fish fry and the drive-through ashes
Yep.
today when I was riding around. So yeah,
Yep.
very parallel lives. So I think the
Yeah.
beads with the seeds in them is a brilliant concept. I think we can
Hmm.
use that as a segue because if we're talking about sowing seeds for good, there's a lot of sowing seeds for what deception, destruction, denial, all of that in the Real
Easy.
Housewives season 3. I know that I had just started season 3 when we recapped season 2, and I remember thinking, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I can't even. I'm going to get it all confused. I better stop. I'm going to just go back and rewatch season 2
Yeah.
for the recap." But man, was this one wild freaking ride.
This was a crazy season. It was so interesting, and just the drama and like the big fake alligator tears from Jen about stuff because I mean, girl, you did it. You know you did it. You pled guilty. Like,
Yes,
come on.
yes. Denial. Denial is not just a river in
Yeah.
Egypt, right? I mean, she lived in denial,
Yeah.
seemingly, at least on camera.
Yeah.
Just, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. And to let her mother liquidate her retirement, to sit
Right?
there with her mother and proclaim her innocence, her own mother. And it's like, wow, either she really was believing her own lies or her level of what, narcissistic personality, borderline disorder. I don't know. There's probably a neuroscientist or psychiatrist out there who could diagnose her better than I could. But I was
Yeah.
just,
Just
I
so
felt for
much.
her friends and family who seemingly were trying to support her, but they had to have known as well. I mean, there were just too many red
Yeah,
flags.
they were all like, that was weird. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's my question, you Maggie. Do you think Coach knew?
Um, I think he tried to keep himself out of it as much as he could, and then when it turned into the trial, he started reading everything. He's like, "All right, yeah, I gotta fix this out, figure this out,"
I
because yeah,
think
he
you're
got
right.
really participating. He was there a lot more. Like, he wasn't out of town constantly like it was in the first two seasons, so he was there a lot more. So I think he realized that he needed to figure something out, but also keep himself safe or something because luckily it's just her going, so their kids won't have to be, completely uprooted.
Well, didn't that happen in the Real Housewives New Jersey, right? Where the couple was found
Both,
guilty of something
yeah,
similar and they got to serve their sentences uh, one after the other so that there would always be one parent home with the children. Isn't that how they worked that out?
I think so. Yeah, but yeah, he either was just trying to be blissfully unaware for a while, and then when he finally started to dive into it, he's like, "Oh, okay, why? Yeah, this has
Yeah.
happened now." Like,
I'm telling you, Maggie, I'm telling you, if your husband got back from the bar one night and you're just
that
living
looks
in
that much
this
fun.
9,000 square foot mansion and you have
Yeah,
like charcuterie boards everywhere, fresh flowers everywhere, new couture
eighty
every
thousand
single
dollar
day.
parties.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he says, "Oh, honey, where did you get the money to pay for all this? Because I know that I don't make that much." And you said,
yeah,
"Oh, telemarketing, honey." And he said, "Okay." I mean, come on. And Coach
yeah,
Shaw's got a law degree. He doesn't appear to be a moron. Like you have to ask
yeah,
some questions here. So I feel like he was
yeah,
riding that gravy train for a while and tried to deny knowledge. But you're right. I think in looking over the transcripts that he ordered and the testimony documents, I think he saw
yeah.
some things in there that he's like, Jen, you got to take one for the team, babe. Plead this
We
out
gotta
because
just
we're
get
going to
this
all
done.
go down. Oof.
Yeah, yeah,
Oof. Crazy. Well, let's talk before she gets the plea, though. This cracked me up. So she's complaining in the episode the whole time about downsizing and how expensive
yeah,
everything is. And this cracked me up. I made notes, okay? So she went from a 9,000, by the way, I don't even know what that looks like or feels like. I live in a
yeah,
908 square foot bungalow for reference.
yeah,
9,000 square feet. She went to 4,000. So less than half. And then she still
yeah,
complained. And then she complained she had to let her
yeah,
Shaw squad go. And
yeah.
she had to borrow Angie Harrington's house for, Coach's party or
Hot
whatever.
party.
But it was all about like, oh, I don't have any money. And yet she was still wearing all the nice things. She was complaining about the fees of the attorneys and borrowing money from people. As we learned in the reunion, she was borrowing money from friends.
Yeah,
I'm just like, girl, that's not 4,000 square feet. It's not downsizing. It's just her and Coach and like the little
yeah,
kid, the bigger kid, Reefy or whatever,
yeah,
away at school. I don't get it. Their
yeah.
perception of reality is so skewed to me.
It's so crazy. It's so weird. But yeah.
No, well, we don't have to worry about Jen
So
Shaw anymore because by the end of season 3, she's gone. But here's the funny thing:
yeah.
who else is gone? Jenny's gone. Jenny got
Mary.
booted,
Yeah.
right? Because she made these like racist
Hmm.
social media posts, so she got booted.
Yeah.
Mary, apparently, Mary didn't want any more of this, so she's out for season
Yeah.
3. And they replaced those 3 ladies with the Angies, right? We get introduced to
Yeah.
Angie Kay and Angie Harrington and Dana.
Hmm.
So those are 3 new ladies. Let's dish on them for a
Yeah.
little bit before we go to our
Oh
OG
my
squad.
goodness.
What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
they're Angie Harrington, the one that because in the season before she was the one that like had the party and she like the caterers weren't gonna do it for her. Like they forget was it Lisa told him not to have her do the party or
Right.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, so she was in that. That was that woman, and she's a little pot stirrer. Like she
A
doesn't
little
need
bit.
to. She doesn't need to get into all that stuff. She's just trying to get herself have one of those catchphrases in the opening credits for next season. I think
Yes.
she's a good
Yep.
little pot stirrer right there.
Yep. 100%.
And
Well,
then
and
I
the
mean her
husband.
husband too. Yeah, her husband making that account and everything. And like, why do you call it Shaw Exposed if you're gonna do all this stuff about Lisa instead? Like,
Yeah. But he's a
just I'm
grown.
like, how? What are you? Is he 12?
He's a grown. He's a
Like,
grown arts man apparently, and who
yeah,
has the time? Who has the time?
right.
I mean, what is he
To
doing?
make
He's
up a
just
fake account.
yeah, a fake account to
Yeah.
bully her family for why?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then he gets called out on it and they deny it. And then Andrew Harrington's like, well, I didn't do it. My husband did it. And I'm like, come on, man. You
Yeah.
know, you guys had a hand in it
Once
together.
again,
You
we
know, they're
know what our
staying up, watching Netflix,
yeah.
sitting on their phones, figuring out how they control everybody on the show. It's not like he
Yeah.
was doing
Plus,
it in
like one of the
isolation.
times, yeah, and one time when he posted something, like 40 seconds later, she liked it. So it's like, no,
I
she's
know.
right there.
I
Like,
know. It's so transparent
uh,
and redonkulous.
yeah,
Okay, so Harrington's
yeah,
kind of, well, she gets on my nerves. Plus, she has
yeah.
this ridiculously beautiful house too that they
Right. These
apparently
houses.
lent for the party, but then wanted to charge for the party. Do you remember for Jen? She thought it was a
Yeah. Or
gift,
was
and then
that?
she
Or was
ended
that
up
the
wanting
other
to pay.
Angie? I think that's the other Angie.
Oh yeah, no, no, you're right, Angie K. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
hard to
Angie
keep them
K. She did
straight.
the party.
And even it's my
Yeah.
own name, so I don't know how I can't keep them straight. But yeah,
It's too
yes, you're
many
right. The other
Angies.
Angie did. No, you're 100% right. Yeah. And she
Yeah.
paid them back. Yep. Okay, I remember. Gosh, I
Yeah.
can't keep their big houses
Yeah.
straight. Uh,
Yeah.
they're confusing to me. But
So they
Dana
did
seems
that.
like an outlier, right? We haven't seen Dana's house in season
Yeah.
3, and we
And
don't know what
she
Dana does. Do we? Except she's friends with Heather. Does she work with Heather? Do we
maybe
know?
I don't. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. I think she's probably because she was good with calling like Jen out and stuff, and just being
Yeah.
there to just be extra.
100%. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Heather invited Dana to the girls' ski thing and
Hmm.
said,
Hmm.
"This is my friend Dana from Beauty Lab." But I don't know if that meant she
Yeah.
was a client or if that meant she was an employee. And we
Yeah.
maybe we'll find out. But you're right. She keeps receipts, right? She keeps
Yeah.
people accountable. She's not putting up with Jen's crap. She pushes, and I like that.
Hmm.
I'm a fan. She's not
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah. I
That's
like it
really
too. I
cool.
like that because I mean, especially with Jen going back and forth, like just how because she's scary. Jen is scary,
She
and
is.
she absolutely is and she's absolutely the person that hit Heather and gave her the black eye. Like
Okay. Well, yeah.
that's a
Well,
100%.
I was
That's
I
a
was
hundred
gonna
percent who did it.
I was gonna bury that, but we got to talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that is okay. We're just gonna call it the Black Eye Gate of season 3. It's basically
Yeah, because I
the
was
the
just
mystery to solve. What do you think happened? What do you think happened, Maggie? In your like crystal ball, you can go back and you can see in time the series of events. What's your hypothesis? Your theory about it?
at some point. Yeah, at some point when everybody else left, Heather and Jen were just kind of still like just being drunk and playing around and having a good time, and then they probably started talking about something, and Jen got pissed and hit her because it was full fight. She had scratches on her. Like I think she's so drunk, and she got upset about something that Heather wanted to bring up, and because they nobody can just stay cool and calm for an hour
No,
like on these shows.
no, no,
So
they cannot.
yeah, something got said and Jen hit her.
I think you're right
Yeah.
because I don't think anything else makes sense. We know based on the footage anyway, and we have to trust the producer's footage, that everybody else seemed to be
Hmm.
accounted for.
Yeah.
Like they turned in early or, they were on the phone or they were doing something. I'm so surprised though because they had the cameras all over the place. And
Yeah.
why did the camera not catch anything? That seemed like lame to me. The camera
Yeah, I
caught
think that was
them coming
to
in.
keep the mystery.
Yes,
Yeah, because
100%.
I think if she had Yeah, if she had said like, yeah, this happened, or like this is who did it, then they would show her
Right,
leaving or something like that.
right.
But they're like
And she couldn't have
just
fallen. It
adding to
wasn't
it.
like, oh, I ran into a
No,
doorknob. No, that was a
no,
punch.
that
That
was a
was a
full
full
punch.
out
Yeah,
punch. And the only person who we have seen so far is capable of violence and throws shit. Excuse my
Jen.
language. Throws
Yeah,
stuff. Is
Jen.
Jenny. Jenny was throwing stuff last season, and she's
Yeah,
fiery. But it's Jen. Jen
yeah,
throws things
Jen.
constantly. And Heather really is.
Yeah, she pushes
Heather's her
people. She does all
emotional.
that stuff.
Yeah, she's her
Yeah,
emotional punching bag. So why wouldn't she be a physical punching bag at that moment, right?
yeah,
That's just I. But why? Okay, Heather. I was a Heather fan. I still am a Heather fan. I do. I like her.
yeah,
I mean, she's at the top of my list. But this season,
yeah.
man, I don't get it.
I
She's like,
think
I
she
don't
was
want to
just
talk about
nervous.
it, and that's all she talked about.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't want to talk about it, but then she was talking about it, and just like, okay, do it or don't.
Yeah, she's
Like,
like,
let's
I
talk
know what
about
happened.
this. You know,
I know what
yeah.
happened. No,
Like
I don't know
it
what
could be
happened.
blurry. You could not fully remember what happened, but you know who did it. You know what happened. You know essentially what happened.
Yep.
So yeah,
I think everybody else knows too. I think it's just
yeah.
this unspoken like thing, and I don't know. I love Heather. Without Jen, I think it's going to be interesting in the next season to see how she develops
Hmm.
without being caught in that toxicity. I mean, I'm sure she'll just find more of it with other
Yeah,
people. So let's get to our crew then.
yeah.
So we've got Jen's gone for a while. No Mary, no Jenny. We've got two new
Hmm.
Angies and a Dana, but we've still got Heather, Whitney, Meredith, and Lisa.
And
So
Lisa. Yep.
how are we feeling about them this season? How do we feel about their relationships, their drama? Do we feel differently, better, worse about them carrying over from season
It's
two? What
it's
about what
interesting
do you
how
think?
things switched up. It's interesting how things switched up. Like I know Chance, shush, shush, shush. He's whining in the background. Um, it's interesting to see how this friendships swapped, kind of like how like Lisa and Meredith aren't friends anymore. And then Whitney and Heather had so much blown out. Like they just didn't work out anymore. Um, and I like how Whitney kind of stood up for herself and was like, you haven't reached out. You don't reach out to me, Heather. Like, of you don't even know that I'm not talking to you right now. Is to that point. Like,
Yeah,
she was just. I mean, Heather was really busy with the book and the new venue and all these different things and stuff. But yeah, that was a really interesting switch up with that. And I think the Lisa and Meredith stuff. Really, Chance? The Lisa and Meredith stuff. I mean, that was just gonna happen anyway. Lisa's just such a selfish and like narcissistic person that
oh yeah,
it's just all of her friendships are bound to like just have those problems.
yeah, 100%. I think
Yeah.
something I'm trying to recognize more because I just had lunch today with three of my good girlfriends. We were celebrating a
Mm.
birthday of one of them from
Nice.
last week, and I hadn't seen a few of them in months. But we're in each other's orbit. I know that we didn't have a falling out per se, but we haven't texted or talked, so it was kind of a catch up moment. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
you know, watching this show, the producers make it appear as though these women are in each other's orbit constantly, that they are just
Constantly.
BFFs, just having beef.
Every day.
Right. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe Heather and Whitney don't talk that much. Maybe Heather's doing
Hmm.
this new choir thing, which we should talk about, or she's doing
Oh
the
my god,
book.
that terrible choir.
Was very cringy. Really, really not good. And
Yeah.
Whitney's doing the Whitney Rose relaunch and, you know,
Hmm.
um, working with Justin over his unemployment. She's got two kids she's raising.
Yeah.
Heather's got a kid in college and two other kids. So this idea of like, you don't even know and I'm not talking with you, Heather. It's like, maybe
Yeah.
it
I'm
wasn't
busy.
that hard to miss. But they
Yeah.
make it look like Heather's thrown Whitney to the wolves, and I don't really know how much of that is true. I just think Whitney's very
Mhm.
needy, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with meeting people. But I think she's the one who has the most maturing to do out of everyone, and I really hope we see some of that happening. I mean, Justin's not going to be the one to bring it out of her. I don't know who raises
No.
her kids or anybody's kids for that matter. We didn't see many of the little kids in this season. Jack and
Yeah.
Henry were basically gone. Um, all of Meredith's kids are out of the house. Mary's son still lives, basically in the house. We never, Robert Jr., I don't know what he's
Yeah.
up to. And then I
Yeah.
think they left the kids out of this season, but we forget that they have lives outside of the show. And I think they're
Yeah.
probably very full and very busy. So I think the idea of like, you didn't answer my call and you didn't text me, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, you know,
Come
I
on.
don't
This
know.
isn't high school. You have
It
you're
is.
adults with lives.
Well, you talk about high
Yeah.
school. I mean, the binge drinking, the the topless shenanigans. I'm like, good grief, women.
Right?
Have
These
some.
women are in their 30s. They're between their 30s and 50s, and they're
Yes.
going off like this. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
what is it? Whitney's the youngest, and she's like 32 or something like
Yeah.
that. Everybody else is in their 40s and 50s. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing, kids?
Yeah. I don't know. And I think Meredith is coming off a bit more like a killjoy, but I think she's the more mature of most of them. I also
Yeah,
think she's
she's like,
probably
no,
one of the
I'm
older.
done. I'm gonna go lie down now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. She has a little more self-respect, I think. The others, I think, are trying to
yeah,
self-medicate maybe through alcohol,
for
but
sure.
they seem to be, Jen is particularly, I'm pretty sure, has an issue with
Yeah,
self-medicating. But let's talk about that
yeah.
choir. That was some pretty not great music. And Lisa, I don't know why she
That
thinks she's
was
got
weird,
pipes, but I wasn't feeling it.
right? She's like, obviously, I'm the best singer, and I'm, who are you talking about? Not you, ma'am.
John
That
probably
was
tells
so
her all the
weird.
time.
Yeah, yeah. Like he just says whatever she asks him.
Well,
But
and
yeah, that was such a weird choir. I'm like, why? Why are we
why?
doing this? She's so busy. She's
Right.
writing. She's writing a book that I don't know if she actually even finished it by the end of that season. And she's got her new place, and then she's got another one. Other ones being built. Why did
Yeah.
you add a choir to this
I,
situation?
I don't know. I
Who
think the
asked for
book,
this choir?
yeah, I think the book launch was at the very end. But
Yeah, but the book wasn't written.
no, no, it was just right. It was just a
It was just the
poster of it. There
cover.
weren't even books that were
Yeah,
signed or anything, right? Yet,
yeah.
her rationale was she'd grown up in the church. She hates everything about the church.
Mhm.
Basically, her whole storyline is Mormonism ruined me, and I've been, trying to detox
Yeah.
from it. But I really miss all of the spiritual songs. Now, if you listen to some of those hymns, and I've sung hymns in church all my life, they're just
Yeah.
reinforcing the rhetoric of
The stuff.
your
The weird.
church. But
Yeah.
she wants to still do that, which was bizarre. And then she just gets this
Yeah.
hodgepodge of people to try to sing some of these religious hymns, some of whom weren't even like practicing Mormons. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
bizarre. I think it was a vanity project, to be honest. I
Mhm.
don't know, but go figure. I
So
didn't.
weird.
I hope it doesn't continue. Honestly, I don't really need to hear that anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was bad.
so she was a bit of a, I don't know. She was a wild card. I think she's still trying to find herself, but I think she's going in too
Yeah.
many directions and she's taken on too many new projects. I think she
Yeah.
got lost in the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
because she was never meeting any of her deadlines for her book or anything either. So she's just not.
I know it was really, really crazy.
Stop adding things.
I I
Yeah.
was learning more about Mormonism because I was watching. I've been deep diving into these just terrible true crime documentaries. When it's a
Hmm.
terrible habit of mine, but if I can't sleep, I'll stay up and I'll just find some true crime, which is dumb, right? Because I don't sleep anymore when I watch that. But I watched one recently, and it was
Hmm.
called "Abducted in Plain Sight." So, listeners,
Yeah, I think
if you're
I've heard this
looking,
one
do you
before.
know what I'm talking about? So
Yeah.
this Mormon family, uh this Mormon family, the dad I think is bisexual, definitely, maybe
Hmm.
homosexual.
Yep.
And do you know that? Okay, so this charismatic neighbor kind of inserted himself into their family, and
Yeah, and then like stole their kid.
yes,
Like,
seduced the 12-year-old, kidnapped her for like 3 months, drove her to
yeah.
Mexico, and they didn't even press charges. And then he did it
Yeah.
again.
Did he
It was the
do it
most,
twice?
yes,
Yeah.
kidnapped her twice. It was bizarre. People watch it if you want, but the whole time
Yeah.
they're their kind of cloistered life. They talked a lot about
Yeah.
the church. He was from the church. How their marriage was breaking up because he had had a homosexual relationship with his neighbor, and she had had an affair
Hmm.
with the neighbor. And the bishop, apparently, of their church, was kind of giving the guy a pass, but pushing on the woman about how she could ruin their marriage and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is the kind of baggage that Heather was talking about.
Yeah.
These double standards between men and women in the church. And I can see how she's really trying to live her best life. And maybe I think that's why she's drinking and flashing her tatas. She's like, I didn't do any of this in
Yeah.
college. Most 20 and
Yeah.
21-year-olds were doing that. Now she's 50 and she's like, I'm trying to relive the youth I lost. So I
Yeah,
guess I can understand, but it's still sloppy. And she always has shame
it's
at the end
still
of it, so it's clearly not working for her.
right. Or she ends up with a black eye at the end of the night. Like, stop, calm down.
Slow your roll, girl. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I heard that
yeah,
the Mormon women had to wear these things called garments. Have you heard of this?
yeah,
It's like this unitard or something under their clothing. They can't wear like real
yeah. They
clothing and stuff. What's that about?
yeah. So it's both men and women have these garments. You can't have like that's just always what's you wear underneath what under your clothes. Like that's why girls, women they can't wear um, sleeveless things because it's a short sleeve like to here kind of thing. Like it's full garment. Like that's
Kind
just
of
one of their
like the pantaloons or something that they would have worn like in the
yeah.
Victorian
It's kind of
era.
like old yeah. It's like long johns but they're just kind of cut here and like shorts.
Interesting.
It's
Is
weird.
that like purity thing?
Yeah.
Are you aware? Is that
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Just like if you take those garments off, then all
wow?
right,
Then it's on, huh?
yeah,
Interesting. Well, goodness. Yeah, I'm learning more and more about that, I gotta say. I think we got a little
yeah,
bit
the
more away
churches,
from Mormonism, although in this season, in the beginning, I have to remember Whitney officially quit Mormonism, right? She went to quitmormon.com, apparently printed
yeah,
out this document and signed it. Yes, that's the thing, people, quitmormon.com. And
yeah,
I
because
guess
they
she had
do.
to
They
go,
follow you. They'll keep contacting you. They'll like when you're in the church, because like you'll donate like a lot of people they tithe at their church, but it is like required for Mormonism. So 10% of your income comes out of your goes to the church. So that means that she doesn't have to do that anymore and that kind of stuff. So
which is
yeah,
probably good since Justin lost his job.
yeah, they
So
need that money.
and they're apparently maybe struggling, although she still had an air of elitism about her. I wrote down a quote that I just was like
Yeah.
rolling my eyes. They were going to ski, and she was putting her skis on the car. And
Hmm.
basically, she says, "We don't have a hitch carrier." She goes, "I look down on people with hitch carriers. We're rooftop carrier people." And there was a part of her
Oh my
trying to be
goodness.
funny, but you knew it was true. It's like somehow hitch
Yeah.
carriers on a car are hick and roof carriers are bougie. But I was like, she's still trying to kind of keep up this
Yeah.
bougie
Persona.
air about
This.
her. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how I
It's
feel about
weird.
her. Honestly, she seems very, I don't know, kind of vapid. But I don't know. I don't know. Who's got the
Yeah.
most
Like and you
depth?
lost. Yeah. Like they've lost all the her family's money for her
Yes.
rebrand and stuff,
Yes.
and then like yeah. Don't also if you like have a certain like with your job like with Justin's job, and like he's that high up and everything. Yeah. Maybe don't do the sex paint thing in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe
close
make.
the door and you can have the
Yeah.
sounds and they
Yes.
can just hear the sounds, but like
Yes.
don't do that in front of the
Yes.
camera.
But
That's
maybe
so
make some
weird.
yeah, make some good choices. I think I
Yeah.
read that that was only a part of it, and that apparently the conflict of interest wasn't so much in the morality, but that he works
Mm,
in this multi-level marketing and MLM, and
mm.
Whitney Rose's new products and brand launching were in direct competition with products that his MLM was selling, and that was
Oh,
something
okay.
else that was
I
a
mean,
conflict, a
yeah.
business conflict. So either
Yeah.
way, he was kind of screwed. So poor Justin.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll find his path. Maybe he'll become like, maybe he's the one watching the kids. Now that I think of it, maybe he's like a
Yeah,
house.
they did say that he was starting to do more of this stuff with the kids and everything.
There
I
you
don't know,
go.
maybe he'll be a sales rep for Lisa's alcohol company.
There you go. Yes, the
He
one
does
that
sales and stuff.
apparently she had to file the SEC paperwork for because she was
Yeah.
crowdfunding, right? Wasn't that the big rumor
Hmm.
and to do this season that Meredith had
Yeah.
apparently been sent some paperwork indicating this, and it showed that the company hadn't been profitable in 2018. And then Lisa said, "Well,
Yeah.
that's not Vita Tequila, that's this offshoot, this other tequila spirit thing that we were working on and trying to get launched."
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, I still
There's
don't
too
see
many
Vita Tequila in
business
St. Louis.
licenses. Yeah, there's too many business licenses. There's the weird thing with her kid with her two boys, the wolf,
Yeah, Fresh
fresh
Wolf,
wolf or whatever it
Foxy
is.
Wolf, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like just and now and yeah, you guys just make these different things and your kid thinks that money just comes out of these businesses, so he doesn't want to go to college now. And it's like,
Right. Right. You just
you,
been gifted
because I don't
this.
think, yeah.
Yeah, the
So,
reality is crazy. I love Meredith's line. She says something like, "What does John do for a living?" She's like, "What does John Barlow
yeah.
do? He just follows, Lisa around and gets her Diet Coke, and then
Yeah.
apparently,
Yeah.
schleps party supplies around or something." But I
Yeah.
don't know. They're an interesting couple. I got to say, Lisa's. I don't know. I think she's gonna.
Yeah. Like
Well,
our
this
errand
was.
boy. Weird.
Yeah, this was. I was trying to think about Lisa and Meredith's friendship, right? And I was just trying to figure out
Yeah.
if that's something that the producers made more of than maybe it was. I know that they've known each other for 10 years, but then we find out later that
Yeah.
Heather and Angie K went to high school together. Like, I think St.
Yeah.
Louis, or sorry, that's a
Nah.
Freudian slip because St. Louis is a very small, big city. And I think Salt Lake City's
Yeah.
probably like that too, where everybody knows everybody, but it doesn't mean everybody's friends. So I think
Yeah.
Meredith and
Yeah,
Lisa
that's for
might
sure.
really not have been the besties that they tried to make us think they were because their friendship seems to be completely broken now. I don't know if they'll find their way back
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be working out. Like, I feel bad. I'm glad that the husbands are able to have their time together where they can still hang out and everything like that. I think it's really good that those guys do have times where they get to all hang out. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can't just say stuff like that. You can't say that stuff about somebody's family and them,
Yeah,
and then be like, "No, but I didn't mean it." Well, you said it. You had your
yeah,
microphone on.
yeah,
Like you did.
yeah, yeah, and yeah,
So yeah,
it was pretty intentional and filled with a lot of anger. It's hard to
yeah,
say that that's not how you really feel. I mean, come on,
yeah.
that
You
was
did this.
that was pretty rough. So, okay,
Hmm.
I think like I don't know if next season we should do this while we're watching before we do the recap, or if listeners are interested in doing something silly. My family,
Hmm.
over whenever we visit for a holiday, we will play Hallmark movie bingo, right? Because there's so
Yeah,
many like common tropes in Hallmark movies, right? Like, is there a gazebo? Is there a red pickup truck? Is there a handsome widow?
yeah.
Check, check, check. Okay. So I was thinking we
Hmm.
need like a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City bingo card. And I had a
Yes.
couple of ideas based on this season. So words like,
Hmm.
anytime you hear these words, it's not a drinking game. Okay. I know that
No,
Heather
we
might
would
might
get
want to do
so
some,
wasted with turn game for this place.
some shots. We're not going to do shots, but
Hmm.
weaponize. That was the buzzword.
Hmm.
People are clearly in therapy on this show. They're using words like, accountability and weaponize and
Hmm.
charcuterie. You know what? This surprised
Yeah.
me. So I live kind of under a rock a little bit. The
Hmm.
charcuterie craze kind of just never really landed on me. Every party I went to or get together, there was always a charcuterie board, and I know Pinterest and Instagram were filled with pictures, but I never quite
Yeah.
understood when that seemed to become trending. And now I'm thinking it probably coincided with this season because there were like I counted like four charcuterie boards at different events,
Yeah.
like all the time. So
Yeah.
charcuterie boards,
Constant.
the phrase "I hear you," the phrase
Yeah.
"I feel heard," healing
Hmm.
journey. Oh my gosh, if Whitney Rose
Oh my
says
god.
healing journey one more time, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stab my eye out with a crystal. Disengage. They love that. I'm
Hmm.
disengaging. I'm disengaging. Meredith's a fan of that.
Yep.
If you're not disengaging, then you're processing. Processing.
Yep.
Innocent, of course. Jen Shaw. Of course, Jen Shaw saying
Yeah.
Jen Shaw in the first person drives me crazy.
Yes.
This Jen
Yeah.
Shaw, Jen Shaw.
So much.
And then I also had ride or die. If I hear
Oh
she's my
my
ride or
god.
die one more time, I'm going to lose my ever loving mind and probably drive off the
It was
cliff
so
like Thelma
much.
and Louise. I'm over that.
Yeah.
So we'll see
So
if they
much.
keep those phrases. I think they will. I think they're just part of their verbal DNA at this point. But I'm
Yeah.
interested to play
Pretty
that
much.
along when we watch season 4 coming up. But
Yeah.
yeah, is there anything I may have missed? Any tropes? Any symbols? Oh, Sprinter van. Can I put Sprinter van on our list?
Yes. Bunch man. Vita tequila,
Vita.
because
Oh my gosh, if she
Lisa
goes, I want a Vita
cannot not say
cocktail.
it.
Can I get a Vita cocktail and a Diet
Yeah.
Coke? Okay,
Yeah. This
Sprinter
is
van,
Vita.
Vita anything, Vita tequila.
Yeah.
Um, let's
And like maybe an action like Whitney on a pole.
Whitney
Like
on a pole.
Whitney twerking or something like that.
Pole. How about pole twerking? We'll just make it a
Yeah.
hyphenate. Either of those will work. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a list now. I'm watching with that intent, because it was just too much to see. Now I know Jen's going to be gone season 4. I don't
Hmm.
know if Mary comes back or not. I have not been cheating on you on the
Yeah,
show.
I don't know.
I'm sure Jenny's out for the count. We probably might get Dana. We might not. The Angies maybe will come back. I don't think
Hmm.
Meredith, Heather, Whitney, and Lisa are going anywhere. So it'll be
Yeah, I
interesting
think
to
they're
see.
staples. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm curious how they process life without Jen. And
Yeah. They need to find a new wild card.
they do. We need to have somebody come in who's going to really stir things up, mix things up
Yeah.
more. That's going to be
Yeah,
big,
for sure.
and some more crisis. I think they got to one up the black guy. The black guy took us pretty far, but I'm really over it.
Hmm.
So what's going to be the next
Yeah.
abuse, assault, transgression that people can't get over? That's got to be something that's
Yeah.
going to carry us through season 4. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
What's the big thing? Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what have you learned this season about friendship, Maggie? Watching these train wrecks just pile one on top of the other on top of the other. Are you taking anything uh, valuable away from this experience? What are you learning?
Sometimes people don't need to be friends. We don't have to force it.
Cut it loose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, just be honest with people and stop talking behind people's back so much when you know you're going to see them in 20 minutes. Like,
I have never
like they're
heard
just going to
so
talk.
much second and third yeah, second and third party gossip and rumors.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see. I heard that she told her, and then I overheard at a party that somebody said that Heather got a black eye by doing Barbie scissor kicks in a sexcapade with
Yeah.
Jen. What?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, can you
So
just
silly.
filters, please? Filters, people. Like,
Yeah.
know your sources. That's the thing. I think more listening and less talking. I'm picking that
Yeah.
up. So many of these conflicts could be avoided if there was just more
Hmm.
listening and less deflection, less, feigned vitriol. Like, oh my, I feel so, you know, abused by you, so crucified. So it's like, come on,
Yeah.
just listen a little bit. Um,
Yeah. Oh, another thing for the bingo card would be a good somebody saying, "I'm sorry that what I said made you feel that way." Like like a half-ass apology kind of
yes,
thing.
or what I like to call that the Shaw apology.
Yeah.
That's my phrase for it. It's like the half butt apology for sure, or
Hmm.
anything that begins with "I'm sorry if" instead of "I'm
Yeah.
sorry that." Um, what did I hear the other day? Somebody said, um, "I'm sorry for the way you think I made you feel." It was
Oh
something
my
like
God.
that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" There's like 4 levels of undermining in that apology. It's like what? Um,
That's so crazy.
I think also just take breaks from each other, and again, this is something
Yeah.
that it's hard to know what's in their contract. It's hard to know what the producers have said has to be done. Like, do they all have to go in the Sprinter van? Like, can nobody take an
Yeah.
Uber? Like, why are they putting
Yeah, right?
themselves in such close quarters after having, gone
Constantly.
out all night drinking? We know it's going to create drama, but at some point, do they not have the option to avoid it, or is it just what
Yeah.
Bravo is stoking the flames for? I don't know.
Yeah, they do need, I mean, they need drama to make the show keep going, so.
Yeah, and it does, and I
Yeah.
hear everybody I've talked to who's trying to spoil this for me. They're like, "Oh my gosh," dude," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Zip it! I don't want to know."
Don't do
Right? They're
it.
like, "Oh, if you think season 3 was bad, like if you think the whole Shaw arrest and pleading, guilty, oh, wait till season 4." And then they're like, "Oh, wait till season 5." And now they're
Oh
like, "Oh
no.
my gosh, seasons." And like, stop it. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I mean, how can they top something like, a vicious girl brawl with a black eye, or, you know,
Right?
prison? But I guess they're gonna try, and I guess we're gonna
We're gonna
find
figure it
out.
out.
All right, guys.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. So we're gonna keep that bingo card growing for the next few
Yeah.
seasons. I think it'll keep us all very attentive, and we will look forward to recapping season 4 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City on the next Reality
Yay.
Redux. Take care, everybody.
Hey.
All right. Let's stop that. Girl, this was just, I have some friendships that I think sometimes I'm like, maybe this isn't
Yeah.